All right, let's talk about Carl Jung. But I don't want you to think of him as just some stuffy psychologist from a textbook. No, think of him as a cartographer of the soul, an explorer who literally whisked everything to journey into the vast, unknown territory of the human psyche, and came back with a map for all of us. And I mean that seriously. What if the most profound ideas about who we are weren't born in a sterile lab, but were forged in the fire of a deep personal crisis? A journey so dangerous that the man taking it was terrified it would break his own mind. You see, this is the tension at the very heart of Jung. He was this incredible paradox. On one hand, he was a rigorous, empirical scientist, observing his patients with the precision of a biologist. But on the other hand, he was a total visionary, a mystic, gazing into the cosmos of the psyche like an astronomer. So, where does our story begin? It starts with Jung as the brilliant protege, the crown prince of psychoanalysis. He was handpicked by the master himself, Sigmund Freud, to be the heir to his new science of the mind. But, well, this dream team was headed for a spectacular collapse. At first, they were incredibly close, a real powerhouse collaboration, but pretty soon, some serious intellectual cracks started to show. And the point of no return? That came in 1912, when Jung published his book, Symbols of Transformation. After that, it was over. The break was final. So what was the huge disagreement all about? Honestly, it pretty much boiled down to one single word: libido. For Freud, almost everything, and I mean everything, was driven by repressed sexual energy. But Jung saw something way, way bigger. For him, libido was the total psychic energy of life itself. It was creative, it was spiritual, it was this force pushing us all toward growth. To Freud, this was basically heresy, and their friendship just couldn't survive it. So after the break with Freud, Jung was completely lost. Professionally isolated, personally adrift. He'd lost his father figure and his entire intellectual foundation in one fell swoop. And this crisis, it forced him into this terrifying free fall into his own mind, a period he later called his confrontation with the unconscious. He had no map, no guide, nothing. This quote, it's from a secret journal he kept during this time, which we now know as the Red Book. And it just captures the raw terror and humility of that journey. Jung genuinely feared he was on the brink of psychosis. He felt like the visions and voices flooding his mind could completely overwhelm him. The spirit of the depths, as he put it, had taken over. Now here's the crucial part. Jung made a choice. Instead of running from these terrifying visions, instead of trying to medicate them away as symptoms of madness, he did the opposite. He confronted them head on. He started documenting every single inner dialogue, treating his own breakdown not as a catastrophe, but as a radical psychological experiment. He developed this method he called active imagination. He wasn't just a passive observer of his visions, he got involved. He had full-blown conversations with these symbolic figures that were emerging from his own psyche. There was Philemon, a wise old man who became his inner guru. There was Salome, representing the feminine. He even talked to a serpent, a symbol of pure primal instinct. And he treated them as if they were totally real. But here's the thing. Jung didn't stay lost in that underworld. He emerged from that terrifying journey, and he came back with the treasure. He came back with the map. You know, all those famous concepts that would define his life's work, they weren't just theories he dreamed up. They were born from his direct, personal, and terrifying experience with the depths of his own mind. His first major discovery? The collective unconscious. He argued that underneath all of our personal memories and hang-ups, there's a much deeper layer that we all share. It's like a kind of psychological inheritance, a blueprint filled with the ancestral memories of all humanity, connecting every single one of us across time and across culture. And what's in this collective unconscious? Archetypes. Think of them as the universal, instinctual characters that show up in every culture's myths, fairy tales, religions, and most importantly, in our own dreams. The hero who goes on a quest, the nurturing mother, the wise old sage, these aren't just characters in a story. They are fundamental structures of our own minds. And maybe the most important archetype for our own growth is the shadow. This is, well, it's all the stuff we don't want to admit about ourselves. Our selfishness, our hidden anger, our shame. Jung was convinced that the first, most courageous step toward becoming a whole person isn't about finding the light, it's about making this darkness conscious. Jung also used what he learned to map out the different ways we all operate in the world.
His famous theory of psychological types gave us concepts you definitely know, like introversion and extroversion, plus the 4 functions: thinking, feeling, sensation, and intuition. I mean, this work was so groundbreaking, it directly inspired personality tools we still use today, like the Myers-Briggs.
But here's what you've got to understand. Jung's map of the psyche, it wasn't just for academic curiosity. It was a practical guide. It was a map for a specific journey, towards a destination he called wholeness.
And this is the ultimate goal of Jungian psychology: individuation. What is it? It's the lifelong process of becoming fully and completely yourself. It means getting the conscious and unconscious parts of your personality to talk to each other, to find a balance. The goal isn't to become perfect, but to become whole and to become uniquely you. So, okay, how does a person even start this journey? Jung actually laid out a path. Step 1, you have to courageously confront your shadow. Step 2, integrate the anima or animus, which is the unconscious feminine side in a man or the unconscious masculine side in a woman. And finally, doing that work helps you find a whole new center for your personality, the self, which represents true wholeness.
Late in his life, Jung felt this powerful urge to do one last thing. He wanted to translate his complex, life-altering map into a simple guide that literally anyone could pick up and use. And this final act gave us his most accessible book, Man and His Symbols.
And the story behind that book is amazing. Jung had always refused to write for a popular audience. But then, at 83 years old, he had a dream. In the dream, he was speaking to a huge crowd of just ordinary people, and they understood him perfectly. He woke up and took it as a direct message from his own unconscious. He finally agreed to write the book.
With this last book, he wanted to leave all of us with a few powerful, practical takeaways. Number 1, your dreams are not random garbage. They have profound meaning. 2, symbols are the native language of your soul. 3, the unconscious isn't your enemy. It's trying to be your partner. And finally, your psyche is always, always trying to heal itself and guide you toward being whole.
And believe me, these ideas are anything but outdated. That central metaphor we've been using, Jung's Map of the Soul, that's the title of a book that directly inspired a whole multi-platinum album series by the global superstars BTS. His map is absolutely still guiding explorers today. So, we end by turning the map over to you. Jung risked his own sanity to chart this inner world. He gave us the tools to understand its symbols, its characters, and its ultimate destination. The only question left is the one he would want you to ask yourself. Now that you have a map, what is your unconscious trying to tell you?